This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Oh, fiddlesticks! What, Wilbur? We just got hit and I think my back is all been out of shape.
You gotta talk with those whippersnappers at the Advocates Law Firm. They're the best injury lawyers around.
What? Pipe down, Clarence! Abner's telling me about the lawyers and the advocates. So what happened to you, Abner?
I was walking across the street with the light when some young punk came screeching around the corner. I lost a toe.
What? Shut it, Clarence! If you get injured, the advocates get results.
AdvocatesLaw.com.
Hard of a minute, it's drinking time.
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the men's room knows just who it is. So to you, we say, bottoms up, sailor. You're the toast of our shot of the day.
Drink time it is, and as usual, we head to the drink desk and Steve Thrill Hill to find out who we're toasting.
Yes, indeed. Real quick, here's an answer to one of the questions we had for Mike's list he just shared. So there's like the old school pictures, all the dudes look tough, they're not smiling, etc., etc. Somebody here says, my wife asked her grandmother why nobody smiled in the old pictures.
Because they didn't have teeth.
No,
because they're soul.
No, she said, we didn't have anything to smile about.
Well, and the old school pictures,
Right.
too, it was like they thought the Flash would take their soul.
For real.
Yeah, that's why when you look at old photos, nobody smiles. Children, women, men, nobody smiles.
Who told them that the Flash would steal their soul?
I don't know. I just, cause right, whenever you look at like photos from like late 1800s, you're like, how does no...
Right, everyone
they
looks
must
miserable.
Have smiled at some point.
I know, if you historically just look at pictures, no one was ever happy when photography
Maybe that's why Mona Lisa is such a big deal. Who knows?
She wasn't even really smiling. That was a smile like,
that was a smirk.
Yeah, she was trying.
That was a smile you get right before you're in trouble because your wife doesn't believe what you're telling her. Today, we toast former United States President George W. Bush. Just yesterday, W. kind of climbed out of retirement, man. He was at an event in Dallas where he gave a speech. And let's face it, what's going on with Russia and Ukraine is obviously top on the international mind. So I'm going to let you take a listen to what he had to say and see why you think he earned today's shot honors.
In contrast, Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine. Iraq. Anyway. 75.
If you can see the video, it makes the batteries like, oh,
man.
Oh.
Let's call myself out.
Then he just takes his hand and waves the whole thing
75,
off.
it's all good. Both work, though.
Cool, I'm back.
My bad. Hey, I love you.
It's like, oh.
I'm paying now.
I think everyone cringed with him. Oh, yeah. Geez. So to George W. Good to have you back. We pour this booze and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy.
Yummy!
So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies. Down the hola bichola.
The men's room presents Profile This.
And Steve Thrill Hill, could you please tell everyone how Profile This is played?
I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes the story a story. Hello, Bryce. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola!
Hola! All right, Bryce, you understand how this here game is played?
Yes, I do.
Fantastic. You have your choice of one of three stories. We have the wonderful world of drugs. We have Bite Me. In other words, what did someone find in their food? And finally, interior decorating, where you guess the foreign object that ended up on the inside of someone.
Let's go. Wonderful world of drugs.
Yeah. A naked man high on drugs led police on a wild pursuit before crashing into a building. This after he stole a college police vehicle and raced along nearby streets. Pasadena Police Lieutenant Anthony Burgess. He said college police requested city police assistance at about 11 o'clock after they confronted the man. Well, as Pasadena police officers arrived, they saw the suspect driving off in the college police cruiser. The suspect drove at a high rate of speed, went through a couple of red lights, did this for several blocks before driving the wrong way and then finally slamming into a building. The suspect was screaming, struggling with police and paramedics while being treated. They also said officers deployed a spit hood on the suspect. Burgess identified the suspect as 45-year-old Sean Aguilar. He said that Aguilar's girlfriend said that Aguilar had ingested drugs, then attacked her prior to stealing the police car. Well, he was taken to a local hospital for observation after being detained. He will be arrested and booked for grand theft auto, domestic violence, numerous traffic violations, and felony evading. The question is, what drug was he on? Was it crack? Was it meth? Was it PCP? Or was it acid? So crack, meth, PCP, or acid?
I'm personally feeling like it could either be acid or PCP because you get on a real bad acid trip. You know, you go downhill real fast. Maybe you want to shadow box some people, but I'm going to go with my heart and say PCP on this one.
PCP. Okay, bro.
Dynamite.
What college was it?
You know what? Hang on. It just says, wait a minute. I don't know. It's in Pasadena. It also says in the article is that the college police.
Man, that's weird. I'm with
Probably California.
The first thing,
That's my guess.
Pasadena, California.
Other than Pasadena, Maryland, where can't imagine it has no college.
Yeah, exactly. Anne Arundel Community College. I'm going to go acid based on the ingested. Girlfriend said he ingested drugs.
That's correct.
I don't know that you can eat meth, crack, or PCP, so I'm going to go acid.
I've tried them all.
It feels very PCP-ish, but college. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to go acid.
You are as well.
Which seems like violence on acid seems weird, but...
Maybe he's just freaking out.
Bryce, PCP, final answer, correct?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to find out what this guy ingested to make him lose his mind. Was it crack, meth, PCP, or acid next?
That was a T.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
99.9 KISW. We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Category strokes on profile this. We got a naked man. He's high on drugs. He wrecked a police vehicle. He stole it, eventually slamming into a building. Before that, he attacked his girlfriend. She said she saw him ingest something. Correct. The question is, what was he on? Crack, meth, PCP, or acid?
And Bryce, that is the very question we posed to you. Let's start with D. Ted Smith, which also means Miles Moses. Miles Montgomery. Both of you said acid. No, it was not acid. Now remember, even though he stole a college vehicle, I can't say he was not a college student there, but my man is like 45 or something.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, 45-year-old.
PCP.
And he went PCP.
Get out of here.
Correct.
Well, he was naked, man. Bryce, you're not wrong by that. That's my first thought.
Look, when you were telling the story, I wrote PCP. I didn't even bother writing the other stuff. But then I was like, oh, college, maybe it's acid.
When you said that, I realized he forgot that the guy's 45. If I say it, I knew you'd switch
I know
back.
how you work. I always try to go from the opposite of what it should be. Because I figure, like, people who do PCP get naked a lot.
They certainly do.
So it should be PCP, but
because I'm asking, it must not be.
Right, exactly.
PCP, I also feel like now that is Pasadena, Maryland.
Right, probably is. Now for all TV news all time for TV Time with Tam.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box,
Armageddon.
the men's room presents TV Time with Ted.
All right, your choices today. We got the Jimmys, but Jimmy Kimmel's not there.
Okay.
You got John Mulaney and Andy Samberg sitting in. And you got Seth Meyers. Or Ted Smith.
Is it Ted or is it late night?
It is right there in the title. These guys have teams of talented writers and help them come up with their monologues each and every night. It is up to you to determine, is this an actual late night joke and from whom? Or could it be a The Ted Smith original?
Taylor Swift was the commencement speaker at NYU this week, and when asked about the best way to pay off student loans, she said, just shake it off.
The intensity. Yeah, the intensity.
Yeah, it was bad.
I heard she gave a great speech.
Yeah.
I read some excerpts, and it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift delivered the commencement speech at NYU yesterday at Yankee Stadium. And of course, the ceremony lasted a while because Taylor did the speech once, then had to re-record it.
Fallon.
I'll say Fallon. That should be a D. Smith. But
that's Fallon.
Taylor Swift delivered the NYU commencement address at Yankee Stadium. Of course, the ceremony lasted a while because Taylor did the speech once, then had to re-record it. And
my buddy's graduated from Hopkins. It was Bloomberg.
Was it?
Yeah, he went there.
I know, because he gives money to them all the time.
And he landed his helicopter on his old fraternity.
Wow. Seriously?
Yeah.
That's ballin'.
He's a billionaire. He can do that.
That's the Ivy League school thing.
Well, Hopkins not Ivy League, but
yeah,
like no trust me, there was fraternities in that place that are like those scary ones you hear about. The energy company Red Bull last weekend held its World Paper Airplane Championship, while Four Loko launched its first annual Squid Games.
I'll say Fallon, yeah.
It's Seth Meyers.
The energy drink company Red Bull last weekend held its World Paper Airplane Championship, while Four Loko launched its first annual Squid Games.
The world's most inconvenient convenience store hangs off a cliff in China and sells snacks to climbers. What's really annoying is that it's cash only, but there's an ATM 5 miles up.
Fallon. Yeah, Fallon.
That's right.
the world's most inconvenient convenience store hangs off a cliff in China and sells snacks to climbers. Crazy. Yeah, and this is annoying. It's cash only, but there's an ATM 5 miles up.
Did you see a picture of this place?
I have not.
All right, so picture the equivalent of a 4-man tent, but one of those vertical tents that you kind of post into a rock face.
Okay.
So this place, it shows a guy, this place, it is literally hanging vertically. It's not like when you get to a certain point, you go to this place, it's hanging off the cliff. And it shows these climbers, there's like 6 ropes, and this little dude's poking his head out of the store, and they're buying, I don't know, power bars or whatever it is you're going to buy, but like I said, it's not like it's on level ground where you've made it to a certain point. He is literally hanging off the cliff. So as you're climbing, even when you pay for stuff, it's vertical.
If we had the wind, if they have the wind there like we had here yesterday, they would all be gone.
They'd be gone. Yeah, I mean, I saw this picture. I'm like, oh, Jesus. I thought he's like at a base camp or something,
50
man.
mile an hour and 70 mile an hour winds.
I guess, like, to me, if you're at a point in your climbing career or your climbing adventures where you can make it to that shop, like, it wouldn't be that scary.
No, it's not that it'd be that scary. It's just crazy to me because I'm like, if you do not climb rock faces, you will never visit that store.
Now.
Ever. Under any circumstance. You might see it on the way down when you fell off of a cliff, but
I feel like for us, you have better chances. If you take some old school roads, you could find like some weird restaurants or whatever.
Man.
Like I had a buddy that took a road trip. I want to say he was in California, like up in the high desert. And like they go into a place and it's like just some crazy dude that's already hammered. Like the bar slants, so everything slides down and like
that's cool.
Just insanity. But you're right. Like, I don't, like, do enough adventures right. I'm trying to think of anything else, like, that little, that specific you could find.
The only crazy things I've seen, and I've seen a lot of crazy stuff, but it was about a 36-hour trip total. Me and my buddy, we drove down to Virginia, but we took Route 301 instead of 95, which would be the equivalent of 5 on the East Coast. Took Route 301.
So, like, you took 101 on the East Coast.
Essentially that, right? Yeah. And on the way down, we stopped at this rest stop, and this rest stop was actually pretty populated, right? Anyone that was on 301 stopped there. So we got something to drink, and it's one of those places, they had like a wooden porch about halfway around the building. And my buddy, there's a bunch of people sitting outside. It's summertime, so it's comfortable. And my buddy keeps pointing, and I'm not tracking, and I realize there's all these dead butterflies, all right? So, like, you'd get to about the railing, and all these butterflies would just drop dead. And we're watching them fly, and they would just drop dead. That seemed weird, right? We're like, let's get out of here. It's kind of a weird place anyway. But on our way back up to Baltimore, same route. This time we go past that place. We're not stopping there again. And we stop at the equivalent of a 7-Eleven, but it's not 7-Eleven. Just this little roadside place. We go in. There's like 5 people in there. There's one cashier and there's a family. And they all look toward the door. And I'm with my buddy Hollywood. We didn't want to say anything, but we realized their eyes look like they're about 8 feet apart. I mean, like where their eyes were in a human skull made no sense to us. And I'm like, I just hope they're related.
People who have very far away eyes, they weird me out. They look like lizards.
Right, it's not normal looking. It should be in front of your face, man.
It's alien looking.
So Ellen DeGeneres, right? Mm-hmm. I think Ellen DeGeneres, fair to say, had a bad pandemic.
Is she still on, or is there?
So she's ending. It's ending like in the next week or two.
Okay, all right.
So a lot of people are going on there. A lot of people are showing a lot of love for Ellen.
Sure.
Other famous people. Chelsea Handler sent her basically she went topless and sent her a farewell video. But like, no offense, it's not like Chelsea Handler's unattractive, but I just feel like I've seen her boobs a bunch.
Oh, she does it all the time. It's not special.
Keith Urban sent her a guitar the other day.
Right,
I think she must be coming down to her last episode.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It ends next week. Keith Urban, he was on there. It was his 20th appearance, so he sang her a song. And then he gave her a guitar. There was a 1960 Gibson Les Paul Jr.
Damn.
He's had it for a long time. It's on a lot of records. He said it's my gift for meeting you because it's his 20th time on the show.
Does she play guitar?
Probably not, but hey.
Probably not.
That's a great gift. I mean, still, either way, but.
I'm not a photographer. You give me a great picture of someone I love, like, right up there in the wall.
But if I play guitar, I wouldn't want you to sign it. That way I would feel like I could play it.
You still wouldn't play. It's weird. Like, I love Flea. Right. That's my guy, right? And the Flea said, hey, man, I really like my style.
Does he talk like that?
He's got a real kind of high pitch. He's real squeaky.
I haven't heard him talking forever.
But like, if he handed me one of those basses, like, I'm going to play it probably 2 or 3 times just to get your tone, but I wouldn't play it again. You know, it sounds stupid. Like,
I mean,
play
look, if you catch a foul ball at a baseball or like a home run ball,
want to play catch?
Yeah, you're probably not going to play with that ball. Nope. Like, I hear what you're saying, I think that he's just giving it to her. Basically, like, look. He's been coming on the show forever. He wasn't as well known 20 years ago. She gave him a spotlight. So he's like, hey, I owe you a thank you.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't dislike Keith Urban. I don't know enough about him. I know who he is. I don't know his music. But if he gave me his guitar, I'd be like, man, this is awesome. Keith, I didn't know you're a fan. I'm not, but I know who he is. He gave me his guitar.
The guitar itself is awesome without
even without him having owned
exactly.
it. It's a cool
either
guitar.
way, you take the guitar.
Well, and it's cool, too, is it's Keith Urban. I'm with you. I don't know. I bet I know a Keith Urban song.
I'm sure there's one.
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
You got to go back to the Australian country outback. You think about your favorite Australian country songs.
I can't think of, but if I had a Keith Urban guitar, like when I go to the Luke Combs concert, I would tell every girl I met, like, want to see a Keith Urban guitar?
Look, man, Castle has the signed Taylor Swift picture or whatever it is. He doesn't care about Taylor Swift. He's like, yeah, but she signed it. I got it. I'm keeping it.
I'm a Justin Timberlake or a Bieber.
Right.
In my bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because of what you do in the bathroom.
He also has his phone number on there. I've called it.
I'm sure he answered.
No, it just kept ringing. There was no voicemail. It just kept ringing.
I'd at least leave a voicemail, right?
There was no way.
There's no voice.
It didn't stop ringing.
Oh, okay.
That was the problem.
That's why he gave that number.
I was like, I've never called a number that didn't stop ringing. This is very weird.
Maybe it's an old school landline. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I can't speak on this. I'm sure you guys could talk about it. Hayden Christensen. Mm-hmm. He was basically
Anakin Skywalker, pre-Darth Vader.
Yeah. So episode 2, Attack of the Clones. It's the 20th anniversary milestone.
Can tell you have not watched it. That's not if I said Attack of the Clones.
Well, he did an interview with StarWars.com. I'm sure people are all over that one. Anyhow, he said, watching the prequels again as a whole, I was really struck with the quality and depth of storytelling. George's vision to it's all. It's so nuanced, complex, and layered. Really remarkable. Look, basically, here's the deal. I think a lot of people, from what I could tell in this article, people kind of rip on those.
Yeah, they do, for sure.
And he's like, no, man, they're still good movies.
They're not the worst movies ever. They're really not. I've gone back and rewatched. They're not the worst. The problem was this. Star Wars was this. Here's the good people, here's the bad people. It doesn't matter their history. Doesn't matter anything. Pew, 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 pew. So, as a Star Wars fan, that's what you enjoyed, right? So George Lucas did the prequels, and to his credit, it's his story, but he wanted to give you all the subtleties of how this came to pass. And the truth is, nobody really cared. And I don't mean that as a mean thing, but it's like watching the movie Jaws, right? We want to see the shark eat people, right? That's the basics of it. And then hopefully the humans take out the shark in the end. But if you said, we're going to show you the voyage of the shark before he went to whatever.
Yeah, I don't need an origin story. He's a shark.
Nobody cares. The reason people liked it was easy to digest, right? There's not a lot of explanation. You don't need all the nuance. But again, for George Lucas, I get you want to tell your story. But in the end, when you present it to an audience, man, you find out the average Star Wars fan, myself included, I just like to if they have an English accent, they're probably bad, kill them. Right?
All right.
If they're hanging out with Chewie and the gang, they're good. I hope they survive.
I take it as like
that's it.
I take it as like what you're known for. Eventually, you just kind of own.
Yeah,
it's like Mark Sanchez. Like looking back, like the butt fumble is great,
right?
More people come up to me and go like, "Dude, butt fumble guy," and like when I look back,
but George Lucas is like, "I want to show you."
But everybody else, the Jets are like, "That was terrible. That was awful."
But George Lucas is like, I want to show you the motion of the center's arms. It's like, it's fine. Nobody cares, right?
Well, right. Hayden Christensen, he was rewatching them to prepare for the Obi-Wan series.
Just Obi-Wan, man.
Obi-Wan.
Well, I mean, I know.
Canobly.
Obi-Wan Canobelli.
Kablomi.
That's coming out on Disney Plus. If you want to see Obi-Wan.
You know goddamn what we do.
Yes, okay.
I don't want to watch Obi-Wan.
I do. Everything they do is great on Disney Plus.
Was there a backup Obi? Because in my world, there's QB1, QB2.
Yeah, there was Obi-2.
Right? He's Obi-1. Who's
I'm Obi-2 Kenobi.
Maybe get some Oba flips in there. All right. By the way, I know I keep talking about it. I'm telling you, though, last night, that Battle of Alberta, Calgary and Edmonton, it was unbelievable. That game ended 6-9. It was 6-6. Hockey. It was 6-6 in the third period.
Jesus, man.
Yeah. And when I turned it on, Edmonton, I want to say, was down like 3 or 4 goals. I was like, I'll check it out for a minute. And then it was like before you could text, like I have a couple buddies who really watch hockey. Before I could even text them, people were like they kept
goals
scoring.
started coming in.
And that's why I finally sent out a tweet. I just said, look, if you like goals in hockey, put on ESPN
and it's so
right
tough,
now.
though, man, because when you see, you click on a game like that, if it's third period and the team's down by 3, I've already checked out. Because you just assume there's no freaking way. Right?
There is no other sport. That is the biggest sport. Like it couldn't have been better that happened in that area with those guys.
Yeah. Well, and the NBA game was kind of a dud. I know the Warriors are favored, I think, and they won by a lot last night. But trust me, Dallas won't go out like that.
No,
I think that's going to be a good series. Also, unfortunately, Luka was not having beers before the game. That photo was old. I like the idea that he was ripping a beer at breakfast, but that wasn't true. Let's see, a lot of shows you like, their season finales. Basically, it's that time of year. So if you watch a show during the week, it's probably have its season finale tonight. I was going to say, I know Saturday is the season finale for SNL too, but Law & Order, 21st season, Station 19, Law & Order, all of them. Season finale.
Law & Order fans, all of them. Thank you, Tim. We appreciate it. You're listening to The Men's Room.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
All right, here we go. The woman who wrote the book, How to Kill Your Husband. Now she needs to come up with another hobby. Meanwhile, Pope Francis hurt his knee, says he needs a beach, sun, and tequila to go get sloppy. Semi-crash in Indiana leaves chocolate-covered raisins and peanuts scattered across the road. Driver in Rochester needs to pay for fresh concrete in his car to be towed. And if you're the mayor, you cannot fall asleep while hammered on a freeway. It is time for your headlines.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's my cop.
Top traffic in Rochester where a woman tried to evade police. Officers attempted to pull her over after she was caught driving erratically whilst shouting at pedestrians with a bullhorn from her car. Upon seeing police, she tried to escape officers, but was thwarted when she drove through a construction site, straight through newly poured concrete, getting her car stuck in the slop in the process. She's been taken in for an evaluation and will face charges.
What's the evaluation? Yeah, she crazy.
Right? It's like, okay, yeah, she tried to run away from you, but that's what some criminals will do.
Myself included.
Right? She was just too stupid. Maybe it's just because she was dumb enough to drive through wet concrete.
What's the thing? I don't think she knew it was there. Kept trying to go away and just...
Right. You're in mud. You're stuck. In other news, tragedy in Indianapolis as a truck had an accident in the small hours of the morning. The truck was headed down the freeway at 1 in the morning when it unfortunately hit the structure holding the highway signs, separating the cab from the trailer in the process, cutting the trailer in half, and spilling its contents of chocolate-covered raisins and peanuts all over the highway.
Oh, God, that sounds delicious.
Raisinets. Crews worked for 8 hours to clean up the mess, and 2 people were taken to the hospital to treat minor injuries.
You take the raisinets, I'm taking the peanuts.
Right?
Game on.
I don't get how you guys can't like raisinets. That's a nice little sweet chocolate bar.
It's filled with raisins.
It's a raisin.
What is the hate of the raisin?
Nothing. It's just I can taste it.
Raisins are terrible.
It's a little sugar pill.
They have their place.
Wrapped in testicle skin, Mike.
Yeah. You have to do something to the raisin.
Yeah, covered in chocolate.
Exactly. That's the problem.
Put it
It's
on
not
peanut
okay
butter.
on its own.
Yeah. I mean, you could, or eat it straight out the box.
Yeah, you could eat raisins.
I love that. Man, whenever we got those little emergency kits in school, and they were just the little
emergency
sun-kissed ones.
No, they would give you a little snack, and I hated it because I knew it'd have raisins in it.
Yes, because they're great.
I might buy raisins tonight at the grocery store out of spite.
Why did they cancel the Sunkist woman?
Right, cancel her.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Get her out of there.
What the hell's she doing? Giving candy to kids.
She hasn't picked a grape in years.
No.
There's a woman in Oregon that's now due in court. The woman is best known for writing the Wrong Never Felt So Right series of novels, including such pieces as The Wrong Husband, The Wrong Lover, and most famously, How to Murder Your Husband.
If loving you is wrong.
You'll never guess what she's on trial for.
Murder.
Oh, you guessed it. Murdering her husband.
If you're her husband,
second one.
Aren't you kind of like, hey, babe, I know you're making money on these books, but I just feel uncomfortable.
This is the Carol Baskin without the TV show.
Yes.
It is.
It'd be like your wife writing a book called How to Poison Your Husband Over a Period of 6 months. Well, it came out 4 months ago.
It's like if a brainchild of Carol Baskin and O.J. Simpson got together, they would make this particular individual.
Right.
Well, right, because, yeah. Carol Baskin, so that's all hearsay.
It is.
She didn't write a book that said, if I had done it.
Right.
And this woman has already written books about how to get away with crimes. Right. It's like,
here's the thing. Don't buy her book because she doesn't know how to get away with it.
If I did it.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're going to write a book about murdering somebody that you're very, very close to, don't let it be the predecessor to you murdering that person.
I'd write a book called
the sequel?
May have done it.
I might have done it.
I'm O.J. Simpson. May have done it.
Might be in jail.
Double Jeopardy's a hell of a thing.
Should have signed that autograph.
No.
I'm going to write a book just called My Bad.
My
bad.
About what? I don't
All those
know.
different chapters. Everything is like, sorry about doing that. My bad.
I should have blown off some steam.
To the end of every chapter. My bad.
I'll wrap it up with my bad.
My bad. I didn't know.
Are you
I didn't mean to.
suggesting that I did that?
I didn't mean to.
Yeah, my bad.
My bad.
Here we go again. Someone has taken both McDonald's and Wendy's to court. She submitted a 35-page lawsuit taking the restaurants to task for false advertising, saying that the companies will undercook their burgers for their advertisements.
Undercook? I've never had a rare or medium rare hamburger from a fast food place.
Thereby misrepresenting how much beef and toppings they'll sell to their customers.
You know what?
They'll undercook them so that they'll retain more of their moisture. They'll be bigger in the advertisement.
I'm suing Liberty Mutual because I have never had an exchange with an emu.
There's no doubt.
Do you ever think the quarter pounder you bought is really a quarter pound? You know it's not a quarter pound.
That is it for headlines. With that, Mike Hawkins out.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. We'll see you up next. The Men's Room Happy Hour exclusively on the Odyssey app. Dirty Big Dummy coming up.
Yes, indeed. It's all true. In the meantime, we'll be all about this bitch for 180 seconds or so. So until then, please do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network.
Oh, man!
A Double Flush production.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.